When Julien Alfred crossed the finish line in London in June, she didn't just win another race. She announced to the world that the 200 meters might have a new queen. Running 21.71 seconds into a headwind, Alfred sent shockwaves through the sprinting world and put everyone on notice for the upcoming World Championships in Tokyo. Let's break down what happened in London and why this performance changes everything for the 200 meters at the World Championships. Alfred's London run wasn't just fast, it was historically fast. That 21.71 makes her the joint 9th fastest woman in history over 200 meters. But here's what makes it even more impressive. She ran that time into a negative 0.6 meters per second headwind. In track and field, headwinds slow you down, which means Alfred's actual speed was even more incredible than the time suggests. The St. Lucian sprinter didn't just edge out the competition either. She beat her training partner Dina Asher-Smith, the 2019 world champion, by more than half a second. Asher-Smith ran 22.25, which is a solid time by any measure, but Alfred made it look ordinary. Even more telling, Alfred visibly slowed down before crossing the finish line, showing she had more in the tank. What we witnessed in London was the emergence of a completely different Julien Alfred than the one we saw at the Paris Olympics. At the Olympics, Alfred won silver in the 200 meters behind Gabby Thomas, running 22.08 to Thomas's 21.82. In that race, Alfred had a decent start, but seemed to lose ground coming off the curve before rallying in the final 60 meters. Many experts thought fatigue from competing in both the 100 and 200 meters might have affected her performance. Fast forward 11 months to July 2025, and we're seeing a transformed athlete. Alfred's approach to the 200 meters has completely changed. Where she once reacted to what other runners were doing, she now runs her own race from start to finish. The technical improvements are obvious to anyone watching. Alfred's transition from the curve into the home straight, which is often where 200-meter races are won or lost, has become a major strength. She's carrying her speed better and maintaining that blazing pace all the way to the line. But the real story behind Alfred's transformation goes much deeper than just technical improvements. This is an athlete who nearly quit the sport entirely just months before the Paris Olympics. Alfred has been open about struggling with mental health issues and finding herself in what she called a dark place. Speaking about that difficult period, Alfred explained how the pressure of expectations almost broke her. She said, "You would think that winning a global medal at the time would really motivate you for more, but it actually took a toll on my mental health, because I felt like I had to go out there and perform, and I put so much pressure on myself." The turning point came when her coach, Edric Florial, asked her a simple but powerful question. "Are you ready to be an Olympic champion?" That question helped Alfred refocus on what really mattered and rebuild her mental approach to competition. The work she's done with Florial on visualization and race modeling has clearly paid off. Alfred now talks about being more confident, stronger, and more relaxed than ever before. She credits her coach with teaching her how to stay calm under pressure, and it shows in her racing. Alfred's physical development has been just as impressive as her mental growth. She's expanded her training to include longer distances and indoor competition. Building the kind of endurance base that allows her to maintain her speed through the full 200 meters. Alfred calls power her superpower, and she's been working specifically on strength training to maximize that natural gift. "I'm really strong, especially in the weight room," Alfred says. "The power that I produce when sprinting is definitely my superpower. That power is now being channeled more effectively than ever before." The 2025 season has been a showcase of Alfred's new consistency. She's won all 3 200-meter races she's entered this year, and her 100-meter performances have been equally impressive. She set a meeting record of 10.75 seconds in Stockholm and has only lost one 100-meter race all season. Even when injury forced her to withdraw from several meets in August, including races in Silesia, Lausanne, and Brussels, Alfred bounced back with authority. Her victory at the Diamond League final in Zurich proved her form was still intact, and her fitness was where it needed to be for Tokyo. What makes Alfred's current form so dangerous for her competitors is how controlled and calculated her racing has become. Where other sprinters might panic or try to do too much, Alfred seems to have found that sweet spot where she's pushing hard but staying within herself. Bernard Williams, speaking on the Ready, Set, Go podcast, captured this perfectly when he said, "She's one of the most consistent 10.7, 10.8 I've seen since Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce and Elaine Thompson. Even when she lost to Melissa, she was still running just as strong as if nobody was in front of her. That's a dangerous person. That consistency and composure under pressure are exactly what you need to win at the World Championships level. Alfred has already proven she can handle the biggest stage, winning Olympic gold in the 100 meters and silver in the 200 meters at Paris 2024. But her current form suggests she's operating at an even higher level now. The competition in Tokyo won't be easy. Sha'Carri Richardson is the defending world champion and will be looking to reclaim her crown. Melissa Jefferson-Wooden leads the world this year with a personal best of 10.65 seconds in the 100 meters and has been in excellent form. Shelly-Ann Fraser-Pryce, the greatest female sprinter of all time with 5 world 100-meter titles, is competing in her final season and won't go down without a fight. But Alfred's London performance showed she's ready for that level of competition. The way she dominated that race, the margin of victory, and the fact that she made it look effortless all point to an athlete who has reached a new level. Alfred herself seems to understand the significance of where she is right now. When asked about her goals, she's been clear about what matters most. She said, "I'm more of somebody who prefers medals over time. So, if it comes down to just a slow time, but I have a gold medal, I'm sure you will remember me as a gold medalist." That mindset shift from chasing times to focusing on winning races is often what separates good athletes from champions. Alfred has the times now. That 21.71 proves she has the speed to compete with anyone in history. But more importantly, she has the mental approach and race tactics to turn that speed into victories when it matters most. The technical aspects of her racing have also evolved significantly. Her starts have improved, allowing her to get out with the field from the beginning. Her curve running, always a strength, has become even more dominant, and her ability to accelerate through the final 50 meters of a race has reached elite levels. What's perhaps most impressive is how Alfred has managed all these improvements while dealing with the pressure and expectations that come with being an Olympic champion. She's handled the responsibility of being St. Lucia's first Olympic medalist with grace and maturity, even as her island nation declared Julien Alfred Day in her honor. Alfred's approach to handling criticism and negativity has also shown her mental strength. "I am a child of God. I do not want anyone spreading negativity over my life. I cannot control what anyone else does, but I am covered by the blood of Jesus," she said recently, showing the faith and confidence that anchor her approach to competition. Looking ahead to Tokyo, all the indicators point to Alfred being in the best form of her career. Her training is progressing well, with her coach noting they're currently at 80% intensity with room to build toward the championships. Her recent race results show she's maintaining her speed and fitness despite a busy competition schedule.
Oh, Divine.
A 15-year-old just did the unthinkable, ran faster than Usain Bolt and Noah Lyles did at the same age. Iheme is rewriting sprint history before he's even old enough to drive. His 100-meter and 60-meter times are leaving experts stunned and fans in disbelief. This isn't just a rising star. This could be the beginning of a once-in-a-generation phenomenon. Back in August, just weeks after finishing year 9, Divine ran a jaw-dropping 10.30 seconds in the 100 meters. At 14 years old, he was already rewriting the record books. That time didn't just beat Bolt's age 14 record, 10.57 seconds, and Noah Lyles' best at that age, it shattered them. It also broke the previous age group world record of 10.51 seconds held by Jamaica's Sachin Dennis. To put things into perspective, that time would have placed him third in the British senior men's 100-meter championship. It also would have qualified him for the Olympic final in 1996. Divine isn't just running fast for his age, he's running world-class times, period. Divine added to his growing list of achievements by smashing the indoor 60-meter world record for a 15-year-old. He clocked a lightning-fast 6.71 seconds at the BFTTA Indoor Series in London, breaking a 23-year-old record set by Jamie Samuels in 2002. Even more impressive, he broke it twice, running 6.72 and then 6.71 in the same competition. He now ranks 4th on the UK U18 all-time list for the 60 meters, just 0.02 seconds behind Mark Lewis Francis's 1999 record of 6.69. This kind of performance at such a young age is almost unheard of. So where does this speed come from? It turns out Divine was born into it. His mother, Nkiruka, was an international sprinter for Nigeria. She represented her country at the 2002 Commonwealth Games before settling in the UK. His father, Innocent, was also a national-level sprinter who competed in the 100 meters and long jump. Divine's speed is no accident, it runs in the family. But it's not just genetics. Divine is coached by his mom, who now runs the PWD Athletics Academy. She's known for her military-style discipline, having served nearly a decade in the British Army. And she applies that same focus and structure to training Divine. They pray together before training, practice with intention, and focus on one clear goal: improvement. She's tough, really tough, very specific, Divine says of his mom. Their training is focused on technique, explosiveness, and discipline, not heavy weightlifting. Divine has never lifted serious weights. Instead, they use bodyweight exercises, bounding drills, and technique sessions. It's all about learning how to run efficiently and powerfully without risking injury at such a young age. At just 7 years old, Divine was already training in parks, doing hill sprints and hurdle drills. His two older brothers, Praise and Wisdom, were also involved in sports, and the family often trained together. In school sports days, Divine was already dominating. "I'd always win the 75-meter dash and the 200-meter by a big margin," he recalls. He also competed in long jump, foam javelin, and 600-meter races, but he quickly realized that sprinting was his true passion. "I hated the 600-meter, I remember crying," he says. By age 13, Divine was already running under 11 seconds. His time of 10.86 that year made people sit up and take notice. But he didn't let it go to his head. He just kept training and pushing. His breakout came at Lee Valley in August when he shocked the world with his 10.30-second 100-meter. "I remember on the day the timer was delayed," he says. "I was crouched, waiting. I saw 10.3 and I started screaming and shouting and running around. I was really surprised." His mom was in Nigeria at the time but watched the footage. "We were jumping up and down," she laughed. The moment was electric. Even the commentator couldn't contain his excitement. What's even more inspiring is Divine's humility. He doesn't brag. He trains hard, stays grounded, and respects his opponents. "They are all very happy for me. They are also using me as a target," he says about his competitors. Divine also keeps a strong connection to faith. He goes to church twice a week and surrounds himself with a positive, supportive team. One of his training partners, Ruby Rogers, says Divine's humility, focus, and faith inspire the whole group. Despite his growing fame, Divine still finds time for school. His favorite subjects are PE and business studies. He enjoys volleyball, badminton, and learning about sports psychology. His schoolmates often joke, "I can't believe I'm friends with the world record holder." And he has big dreams. "I'd just love to compete in the Olympics for Great Britain," he says. "Run the 100-meter flat, the 200-meter flat, and the relays." His training sessions remain focused on long-term success. The emphasis is not on short-term gains or pushing his body too hard. Instead, his coaches focus on technique, mental toughness, and smart training. The message is clear. Divine isn't racing for fame, he's racing to be the best. His nickname? Lightning. And it's well-earned. Whether it's his explosive start, his powerful drive phase, or his calm demeanor at the line, Divine moves like someone born to sprint. In interviews, Divine often mentions Usain Bolt as a major influence. He remembers watching Bolt's 200-meter world record, 19.19, as a kid and feeling inspired. Divine is aware of rising stars like Gout, the Australian phenom who recently ran 10.17 and 20.04 in the 100 meters and 200 meters respectively. But Divine doesn't feel pressure to compete with anyone else. "He's not in competition with anybody," his mom says. "He is just enjoying his training. If something comes, wow. If not, okay." He's already been invited to major youth competitions like the Keeley Classic in Birmingham, and experts believe it's only a matter of time before he breaks the 10-second barrier. In fact, some believe he could do it before he's even 17. The track and field world has seen many teenage talents, but few with Divine's combination of speed, discipline, and maturity. He's not just fast, he's focused. And he's not just winning, he's inspiring. At the PWD Academy in Oxford, Divine trains with athletes who support each other like family. His coaches correct him constantly, pushing him to perfect his form, his start, his finish, and every day he gets a little better. The motto at the Academy? Power, will, drive, 3 words that perfectly describe what Divine brings to every race. As he continues to grow, both in age and in talent, the world will be watching. Can he become the next Bolt? Will he one day stand on the Olympic podium, gold medal in hand? No one can say for sure. But one thing is clear, Divine Iheme is just getting started. And if what we've seen so far is any sign, the sprinting world is in for something truly special.
Noah Lyles and Kenny Bednerek, 2 sprinters, just turned a simple 200-meter race into the most heated rivalry in track and field. What started as a typical championship final in Eugene, Oregon, ended with shoving, shouting, and some serious bad blood that's got everyone talking. So what happened on Sunday, August 2nd? The U.S. Track and Field Championships were happening at Hayward Field, and the men's 200-meter final was about to crown America's fastest quarter-lap runner. In lane 6, you had Kenny Bednerek, the 26-year-old Olympic silver medalist who hadn't lost a single race all season. The guy was on fire, completely undefeated in 2025. Then in lane 7, Noah Lyles stepped up, the 3-time world champion and 2024 Olympic 100-meter gold medalist who's known for running his mouth as much as running fast. Now, these two weren't exactly best friends going into this race. There had been some personal stuff brewing between them, issues that apparently never got sorted out behind the scenes. Bednerek had already dominated the 100 meters earlier that week, winning on Friday. But here's the thing. While Bednerek had been grinding through 5 races that week, including all those 100-meter heats, Lyles was sitting pretty fresh. He only ran 1 heat of the 100 because he already had his spot locked up for the World Championships as the defending champ. When the gun went off, Bednerek shot out of those blocks like a rocket. Within just 50 yards, he had already caught up to Lyles despite starting behind him in the staggered lanes. Coming out of that turn, Bednerek was looking strong, holding a solid lead that made it seem like his undefeated streak was about to continue. But then Lyles did what Lyles does best. With about 60 meters left, he started his famous closing kick. That's when things got interesting. And by interesting, I mean when Lyles decided to get real disrespectful. As these two were flying down that home stretch, neck and neck, Lyles made a choice that would light the fuse on this whole mess. Instead of keeping his eyes on the finish line like any normal sprinter would do, he turned his head to the left and just stared at Bednerek. Not a quick glance. We're talking about a full-on, sustained stare for the final 5 meters of the race. Lyles crossed that line in 19.63 seconds, beating Bednerek by just 0.04 of a second. But even after winning, he kept staring. That's when Kenny Bednerek had enough. What happened next shocked everyone watching. As the two runners were slowing down after the finish, Bednerek walked up behind Lyles and gave him a 2-handed shove right in the back. Not a little push, a real shove that made Lyles stumble forward. Lyles spun around immediately, backpedaling with his arms spread wide, like he was asking, "What the heck was that?" Then he started bouncing up and down like a boxer ready to throw hands. For a few seconds there, it looked like these two Olympic teammates were about to have a full-blown fight right there on the track. Bednerek quickly realized what he'd done and stuck his hand out for a handshake, trying to cool things down. But Lyles wasn't having it at first. You could see the anger on his face as he hesitated before finally accepting the handshake. Even then, you could tell he was expecting some kind of apology that never came. But wait, it gets better. Their argument wasn't done, not even close. When NBC's Lewis Johnson came over to do the usual winners interview, both guys were still heated. Instead of celebrating his victory, Lyles found himself in the middle of a live TV confrontation. Bednerek wasn't backing down. With the microphone moving between them, he looked straight at Lyles and said, "I tell ya, if you've got a problem, I expect a call." That was his way of saying they should have handled their issues privately instead of bringing them onto the track. Lyles, probably realizing this wasn't the time or place, responded with, "You know what? You're right. You're right. Let's talk after this." But you could tell he was still fired up, and Bednerek just stood there with his hands on his hips, staring at his teammate during what should have been Lyles' victory moment. When reporters caught up with them after they left the track, that's when Bednerek really let loose. He made it crystal clear what he thought about Lyles' behavior during that race. "The summary is, don't do that to me," Bednerek said. "I don't do any of that stuff. It's not good character right there. That's pretty much it. At the end of the day, he won the race. I've got to give him props. He was the better man today." But Kenny wasn't done. He wanted everyone to understand that this wasn't about what Lyles said, it was about what he did. What he said didn't matter, it's just what he did. Unsportsmanlike stuff, and I don't deal with that. It's a respect factor. Now, Bednerek also brought up something that added even more fuel to this fire. He pointed out that Lyles was fresh while he had been grinding through race after race. He's fresh. Last time we lined it up, I beat him. That's all I can say. Next time we line up, I'm going to win. That's all that matters. And that's where this gets really spicy. Bednerek was talking about their recent Olympic history. See, the last 2 times these guys faced off in the 200 meters at the Olympics, Bednerek came out on top. In Tokyo, Lyles was dealing with mental health struggles. In Paris, he was battling COVID-19 and ended up with bronze, while Bednerek took silver. So Kenny had every reason to feel confident about their head-to-head matchups. When reporters tried to get Lyles to explain his side of the story, he kept it short and simple. Every time someone asked about the incident, he gave the same response. On coach's orders, no comment. His coach clearly told him to keep his mouth shut, probably knowing that Lyles saying more would just make things worse. But here's what makes this whole situation even more interesting. Bednerek revealed that there's some personal stuff between them that goes way back. He said, just some personal stuff we've got to handle. He claimed that Lyles had his number and could have called to work things out, but instead chose to bring their beef onto the track in front of everyone. This wasn't just about one race or one stare down. There were deeper issues that had been building up, and Lyles decided to air their dirty laundry in the most public way possible.